Hello everyone, Alzion the Great here, and welcome back, I guess, to LOLTalk. Now what this is basically me just sharing my opinion on League of Legends stuff. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to be doing, talking today about is the 2021 LCS, but a few things to remember before we start. One, this is my opinion. Don't get butthurt over it. Two, whatever I predict, I'm usually wrong. So don't get butthurt over it. Three, all players mentioned here are most definitely better than me. So don't get butthurt over what I say. Four, a more important issue that does not involve being butthurt. Any images used in this are not owned by me, and I do not make profit off of them. And also five, just before we start, like and subscribe. So we're going to start here in no particular order with Immortals. Their projected roster for 2021: Revenge, Xerxes, Insanity, Raish, and Destiny. Now, I don't want to say this roster's bad, but I also don't know exactly how good this roster can be. I mean, I've heard good things about Revenge pretty much the entirety of the way, although he's more like a Viper in a one-trick Riven sense. But I doubt that's going to be the case with Revenge here. Xerxes I'm very excited about because I do like Xerxes. I've liked him ever since I started watching European League of Legends, as to say. And I mean, I hope he doesn't fail. That's all I can say about that. I don't really know a whole bunch about Insanity, but if Immortals trusts him, I guess I kind of have to. Raise his contributions to Legacy at the 2020 World Championship was pretty good. Definitely excited to see him in. Destiny, I don't really have super high expectations. His debut in Europe was very nice, but summer did not go his way on an abysmal Origin roster, so I'm not super duper like high on Immortals. I mean, I think it's a little bit of high risk bringing in, two players who've never played, really had a real big playing chance in the LCS and Revenge and Insanity, and then obviously importing two Europeans in Xerxes and Destiny. I mean, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Let's just say that. Next team on the list is FlyQuest. Their projected roster for 2021: Licorice, Jose Diodo, Palafox, Johnson, and Diamond. I think FlyQuest is going to be pretty decently good. I mean, they have arguably the best top laner in Licorice. They signed one of the standouts from the 2020 World Championship in Jose Diodo, as well as bringing over Palafox and Diamond from Cloud9 and Johnson from Dignitas. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about Johnson. I mean, I was happy when Dignitas, made him the starter, and he was the only really rookie in that season. But yeah, I'm not really sure about Palafox or Diamond and Johnson. Basically, most of their roster is not super duper experienced in big time stage. Licorice, of course, he is, arguably the best top laner in North America right now, and I think he'll be fine. I think Jose Diodo will be fine as well, as long as we can get over the language barrier with him. But I'm just a little bit unsure about this roster, but I have confidence in it, unlike some of these other rosters I'm going to talk about. So, Evil Geniuses projected roster for 2021 is Impact, Svenskeren, Jizuke, Deftly, and Ignar. I have mixed feelings about Evil Geniuses offseason. I mean, keeping the MVP from 2 years ago, Svenskeren, and keeping Jizuke was pretty good. I mean, the Svenskeren move was great. Jizuke, I mean, I don't really know. He didn't exactly have his best year in 2020, that's for sure. But good news is they signed Ignar, and they'll move him into the support role. But they call up Deftly. The last time I saw Deftly was, I believe, in 2019 with Golden Guardians, and he did fairly decent, but I don't really remember definitely a whole bunch. But I don't really know. I think Bang is much better than Deftly, but Bang's North American career didn't really work out. The signing of Impact is going to be great because not only is he, not a import anymore. I think that's actually 2 years old now. But he's still one of the best top laners. This is why I say arguably when I'm talking about Licorice for being one of the best or the best top laner in North America, because I still think Impact is, pretty good. But yeah, I'm not really sure how EG's roster is going to work out here. I mean, Svenskeren didn't exactly have the best year, neither did Jizuke. They're bringing in a person who had a really good year in Ignar. Impact was, still pretty good, but I mean, if Team Liquidfield needs to replace him, I don't really know. So yeah, I'm kind of on the low standards here for Evil Geniuses, but we'll have to see how their roster does. And next up is 100 Thieves, and boy am I excited about 100 Thieves. For pretty much the first time since I started watching League, which was late 2017, early 2018, their projected roster is Someday, Closer, Demonte, FBI, and Huhi. Now, Someday had a down year. That's to say the least. He had a down year. But he's still definitely top 3, in my opinion anyway, for best top laner in the LCS right now. They also basically picked up the entirety of Golden Guardian's roster, which I will share with you next on what I think about that. But yeah, they picked up almost the entirety of the roster with Closer, Demonte, FBI, and Huhi. Actually, I think they picked up Closer, FBI, and Huhi. I think Demonte was on Dignitas, if I'm correct. So excuse me for that. They picked up 3/5. But yeah, I'm really excited about this roster because I think, Closer, Demonte, and FBI are 3, kind of young talents that have been really stepping up in the last few years, as well as Huhi being a veteran presence at the support role that he moved to, about a year ago, I think. So I am exceptionally excited about 100 Thieves, and I think they can go really far this year in 2021. And as I alluded to previously, Golden Guardians is up next, and I have to say this is the most questionable off-season for me, but I don't exactly hate their off-season either. Their roster is Niles, the #1 pick in the Scouting Grounds draft this past Scouting Grounds, I think. Iconic in the jungle, his teammate in college as well. Ablaze Olive, Stixay, and Newbie. Now, I've already talked about Niles and Iconic. They both played on the same team for their college days, and Niles was always the #1 pick. Ablaze Olive has been rotating around academy teams for quite a while now, and this will be his first time getting an actual chance, in the LCS, I think. And they also signed Stixay. Surprising that he moved away from CLG, in my opinion, but it's going to be cool to see him in a different jersey. And I still think Stixay is arguably one of the best AD carries in the LCS. But the guy I'm most kind of excited to see surprise people on this roster is Newbie. Because if you look up Newbie, he was actually, I think, the back-to-back MVP of the LLA, if I'm correct, in 2020. So Newbie definitely has a lot of stuff on his shoulders. And I gotta end this quick, but yeah, this is a developmental roster by quotation. I think this roster has plenty of potential and plenty of skill in it already. So I'm looking for Golden Guardians to at least do something good in 2021. So next up is Dignitas. And safe to say I am not excited about Dignitas. This team, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I don't really trust it at all. It has 2 parts of this roster that I actually do like, and that's Fake God in the top lane and Afromoo as the support. But everything in the middle I either don't know or do not like. I don't think Dardoch is that good. Now, obviously, Dardoch is an incredibly good jungler, but 7 teams in however many years, he's I don't trust him anymore. I don't trust this. Soligo, former mid laner for 100 Thieves. I mean, I don't know how I feel about Soligo. Didn't really think he did well, but I didn't think he did terrible. So he's trying to extend his career a little bit here. I've actually never heard of Neo, so I have little to no opinion of him because I've never heard of him before. But yeah, Dignitas I don't think is going to do very good this year, unfortunately for them. But I mean, I'm usually wrong in my predictions, so maybe they'll do good. But I'm doubting it right now. Team Liquid. What can you say about these guys? As already been said, 2021 roster: Alfari, Santorin, Jensen Tactical, and Core JJ. I mean, arguably the best team in the LCS right now. They signed the best statistical top laner in basically European history in Alfari, although I don't really think Alfari's deserving of his contract. Not to say that Alfari isn't good, I just don't exactly think he should be being paid millions of dollars. Santorin, on the other hand, I do think should be paid millions of dollars. He was the best jungler in the LCS last season, so I'm excited for Team Liquid to make that move. Unfortunately, he couldn't go to TSM, but not my choice. Or not. He wanted to make the choice to go to Team Liquid, and I completely understand if he wants to win another title. Jensen, pretty much with Bjergsen gone, he's the best mid laner in North America, in my opinion. Tactical is one of my top 380 carries. Not best, but he's getting one more split under his belt, and then I'll say Tactical is the best 80 carry. But he has to do, pretty good in that, and that's good. And Core JJ, he's a god on Rel apparently, but I'm very excited for Core JJ. If Team Liquid isn't in the finals, it's probably someone's probably going to be fired. So that's my expectation for them. TSM, my personal favorite team, not because I'm a bandwagon. I started watching TSM in 2018 when they didn't make the finals, so don't get me on that. But their projected roster in 2021: Huni, Spica, Power of Evil, Lost, and Sword Art. After going 0-6 at Worlds, there was going to be some changes. And I can't exactly say these are the changes I was expecting. But yeah, they signed Huni in the top lane after trading away Broken Blade, who I really, really liked and was hoping he would stay with the team. They kept Spica, which I was completely fine with. Then Bjergsen and Doublelift retired, and I expected, a Bjergsen retirement, but Doublelift kind of just came out of the blue and just said, yeah, I don't want to play anymore, because we might not get Sword Art, and then we got Sword Art, and it was like, I don't know. But we called up Lost. I think the last time I saw Lost was on Echo Fox back in 2018, I think. So we'll see how he does. And people, especially Travis Gafford, are calling Sword Art washed up after he got to the World Finals. He's not washed up. I don't expect him to do nearly as, or not nearly as good. I don't expect him to do as good as he did on Suning, but I'm certainly expecting TSM to compete this season, and I'm certainly expecting Sword Art to at least do decently good in his first time in North America. You can't talk about TSM without talking about CLG. Their projected roster for 2021 is Finn, Broxa, Pobelter, Wild Turtle, and Smoothie. Now, this is not as a TSM fan. I'm not really sure CLG is going to be good this upcoming year. Not necessarily because CLG is bad and their players aren't good, but mainly because I think there's so many other teams that are just slightly better than CLG. Finn in the top lane, he had a decently good performance at Worlds. He made the Moments and Memories video, so I'll take that as a good performance. But yeah, he gets imported. I'm surprised he did. I didn't even expect him. I didn't even know his contract was up from leaving Rogue. CLG signs Broxa, which I'm not really sure about, just because Broxa kind of failed when he joined Team Liquid. Pobelter, comes back the same way he did when he first got signed to CLG, then I think CLG has a good mid laner. Wild Turtle, I think, he's a good AD carry, but he won't be the best AD carry this split. I don't think he will be anyway. And Smoothie, haven't seen him in a bit, so can't really say too much about him. But yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about CLG right now, and I don't know how good they're going to be. And of course, the biggest move in the offseason was Cloud9. And for once, Cloud9 probably didn't lose the offseason this time. They did lose, Licorice, but let's get to their roster first. Fudge, Blabber, Perks, Sven, and Vulcan. Yeah, they lost Licorice, which was a bit, sad. But then they got Perks and kept Blabber, and it was like, well, if Fudge does decently and Perks doesn't suck, Cloud9 probably has 2 more championships on it. But yeah, it just really depends. I mean, Vulcan is, highest buyout support in North America. Sven, if he does decently good, he should be fine. Blabber, just if he doesn't have a bad split like he did in summer last year. Fudge does decently and Perks does Perks things. It's pretty good. I mean, I think Cloud9 is going to be in the finals too. But yeah, for those people who are like, I think Perks is washed up. The only person with more domestic titles than Perks is Faker. So yeah, I think Perks is going to be pretty decently good on Cloud9. And to end this off, I want to share my power rankings with you. I actually have a missing asterisk here, as there's an asterisk that's too close to be 100% sure between the bottom 6, or 6 to 9 I should say. But I think it is too close to be 100% sure between Team Liquid and Cloud9. Both of these teams are exceptionally good. And honestly, if you asked me straight up who would win in a best of 5 series, I honestly could not tell you. I just think they are way too closely matched for me to be definitive about it. If I had to pick one, I guess I would take Team Liquid, because their players have performed better recently, but other than that, there isn't really much separating Team Liquid and Cloud9. But I decided to put Team Liquid over Cloud9 just because they didn't import anybody. They, changed the roster pretty much the same way as Team Liquid did, but I trust Perks more than I trust Alfari, so Team Liquid's number 1 for now. 100 Thieves, I put them 3rd because Golden Guardians was 1 game away from smacking TSM for the 2nd time, and I would have favored them over Cloud9 last year in summer, so the fact that they got 3/5 of that roster, plus if Someday comes back strong, and DeMonte, does DeMonte stuff, if it's Tanner time, 100 Thieves, they're probably going to be the 3rd best team in NA. I put TSM 4th because I do trust TSM. I trust this roster that we've put together. I don't think Hooney's too washed up. I think Hooney's a little bit washed up, but he's not, garbage washed up. If Spica, performs decently, Spica performs anywhere near the way he did last year, will be fine. If Power of Evil performs anywhere near the way he did for FlyQuest last year, TSM's going to have a chance. And basically, we just need to get Lost back into the game, back into the swing of things, and hopefully Sword Art can speak enough English, or whatever the heck language. I mean, I don't know, maybe they speak Swedish over there, I don't know. Everyone on TSM learned Swedish or something. But, yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have too many communication issues with Sword Art, I think TSM should be fine. I put FlyQuest 5th, not necessarily because I don't trust the roster, but because, come on, you got rid of every single player after making the finals back-to-back in the same year. Like, what is wrong with you guys? But I still think the roster that they put together is pretty good, although it's slightly developmental. I think FlyQuest can still definitely make the playoffs, especially in that 5 seed position. That would be my ideal place for them. unless Licorice just pops off and FlyQuest shoots up straight to number 1, I don't really see him doing too much besides 5th. And here's where the asterisk comes in, because I have no clue who would be the 6th best team. All I know is Dignitas is the worst in my opinion. But I think Immortals, Golden Guardians, CLG, and Evil Geniuses all have a pretty decently even chance to make the playoffs as the 6th seed, in my opinion. Obviously, Immortals, Golden Guardians, CLG, EG, in that order, that's who I think would, has from highest to lowest chance to make the playoffs. But yeah, I think Immortals roster can definitely show up if Xerxes isn't washed up too hard, if Revenge is as hyped up as he does and he lives up to that hype, if Raze and Destiny, if Destiny can have a bounce back here and Raze can continue what he was doing, and then Insanity, I don't know about him, but basically I think Immortals has the clearest roster here. Golden Guardians would be the second one, but I'm not exactly sure about Niles and Iconic. I didn't watch Scouting Grounds. I mean, I trust them because you don't be the number. I trust Niles anyway. You don't be the number 1 pick without being good. But I trust Stixay. I trust Newbie, and I know Golden Guardians is going to be very competitive heading into this year. CLG, I've already said I think they have decently good players. I just don't think they're better than Immortals or Golden Guardians. EG, same situation, but a lot of players that I think are good didn't do good last year, and then they brought in some questionable ones. I mean, Impact, I don't think he's a game-changing guy. I think he can, he's the shield, as it would be, back when they did the thing with him and Ray, where Ray was the sword and Impact was the shield. Impact is really good at absorbing pressure, but is he going to break the game? No. I just don't think that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. If Svenskeren does anywhere near his MVP performance, he should be fine. If Jizuke can have a bounce back here, EG could contend for a playoff spot. But yeah, I don't actually know about that. And Dignitas being number 10, I've already explained. I like their top lane, I like their support. Everything else, I either don't know or don't trust. So, yeah, that is going to be the video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys whenever I find something else to talk about. Later.